Hello, this is Moses, and today I will be fixing a shader bug in the refined campaign. This is something that was overlooked due to how brief the scene that it's in lasts. And in the process of fixing it, I will be showing more or less how anyone can fix shader transparent generic porting issues. So as you can see over here, this is what the shader should look like, the fire coming off of the bottom of the life pod. That's what it should look like. This is from Xbox. This is what it looks like on PC. As you can see, the flame is all red around the edges. It doesn't completely white out the background like it does over here. This is what it looks like in the refined campaign. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but today we will be remaking it and fixing it. To start off, let's minimize all these. And as you can see over here, I have the original A10 Xbox map loaded in Refinery, and I have the PC shaders over here. They're lower quality gearbox equivalents. So let's open up the heat flame from the original Xbox version. So these over here are the bitmaps that are used in creating that effect. They are all the same bitmap. They all point to the same bitmap. The only difference between them is that some of them have animation in the rotation and the V sliding. The stages, though, is where everything actually happens. Nothing happens in the alpha. Just ignore that. So to create this effect, the first map, the color of it, is multiplied with the alpha from the second map. Then the same color from the first map is multiplied with the alpha of the third map. Add these results together to get the final output. That's what output A, B, C, D, mux sum means. So because these two are added to, since the product of these two is added with the product of these two, one can consider these to be two separate shaders. And opening this, nope, wrong one. Opening the heat flame here. Delete all those. We can see that they do have those three maps here. And I'm sure that they animate the way that they should. Yep, that looks right. But the way they blend is completely different. What we're going to do is split this shader into two separate shaders that then get added together. So we're going to make two shaders, one which does this times this, and then another which does this times this. So we're going to save this shader as a duplicate. Called EX for extra layer. This extra layer is going to be the second half. Map 0 times map alpha 2. So for this one, we're going to be deleting the second one. We're going to be deleting the second entry. So now all that's left is this times this. So because we don't care about the color of the second map's alpha, and Chicago likes to blend all of the color channels and alpha channels together. We're going to be replacing that with a bitmap that I've modified, which removes the color channel. It just makes it solid black. Here's my special version of that bitmap that only has an alpha channel. Here's the regular version that has them both. So because of the way that Chicago shaders work, the last map in the map stages is set to current. Current more or less means that whatever the value of the pixel is, its color and its alpha, that's what the output starts at. So since we're going to be blending the color of the first map with the alpha of the second map, we want the output to start as black, just no color at all, which is why we have this version of it, this version of the texture with nothing in the color and just an alpha. So that's working just fine. So for this part, since the blending is set to add, the alpha, it doesn't even matter. We could set this to whatever we want. It's not going to be used in the output sample. What we do need to do is set this to blend the color with the next map's alpha, and then save it. That should be completely set up, actually. Now, let's modify the alpha and save this as a different shader, the regular flame. Yep. And then go to the map which is having its alpha used for the first blending map, blend with first map alpha. The only difference between the two is the V animation and the rotation animation. So we're going to copy these values over here. Yeah, that's right. 1 and -2. Yep. And that's no different. Perfect. So now that we have the main shader, we will add that one we created before as an extra layer. Scenery, vehicles, shader, EX. And the way the extra layers work is that this layer is rendered first, and then all the extra layers are rendered before the main shader, and then this one's rendered over top of it. So this should actually work just fine. It should be fixed. Let's close this and close this down. No, not Halo test. And then open up Sapien and take a look at that life pod. Let's see how it looks. Let's go to that scenery that I added. Oh. Yep, see this is the problem that we had before. We recreated more or less the same effect. So a weird thing about Chicago, shader transparent Chicago, is that the way some of the blending works, even though it says blend with the next map alpha, sometimes, for whatever reason, it actually means alpha inverse. So if we set that to that, then make the same change in the extra layer, that should fix it. Although I think the animation was off. So I'm going to need to take a look at that as well. Alright, let's go back to that. Oh, look at that. Looking much better. Can't see through it. Let's actually compare that. Yeah, that's looking pretty spot on. Yeah, I think that looks just right. Let me know what you guys think.